Streaming starter, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Very warm welcome to each one of you. And Mr. Shivakumar will formally welcome you. This is just to bring you and tell you how happy we are to bring you back again to one of our evening talks. As usual, thank you for your excellent support since the time lockdown was declared in Chennai. We have been keeping you busy. We start the day with a lovely brain twister quiz. And thank you for encouragement. We have over 1,000 people logging in every day for the quiz. In view of the popular demand, what we have made, we made as a weekend affair. So we thought it's not going to be stopping when the lockdown is lifted sometime next week. Every week, Saturday, Sunday, you will get 10 to 11 quiz. Do log in and win. And at regular intervals, we'll identify the top winners and recognize them in one of the major events in MMA. And although we are bringing you lovely articles and excellent events, and we are also doing quite a bit of work with school children, college children in terms of CSI initiative. And thanks for all your support. And another good initiative which you want to do it is tomorrow we are vaccinating the entire street of Patari Road with the support of our well-wishers. I thought your surroundings, your friends, your neighbors are safe and you are safe as well. So please do encourage your people, the neighbors to do that. And we are doing that tomorrow. And this is what some of the initiative. And some of the people are still in the queue waiting room logging in. I'll take another 1 minute to briefly tell you what's happening in MMA so that by any chance you missed your inbox, you don't miss some outstanding event what we are bringing it to you. Then on the 16th of June, we are bringing our event on Own Your Journey. Again, it's all about entrepreneurship and branding thing. Babita Barua, managing partner of GTP India, will be talking to us. She'll be in conversation also with Mr. Balraman, former managing director of Ponds and former executive director of Hindustan Liver. Then again on the 23rd, we have an event again, business strategy for SMEs. Again, we have a Krish from ex-Deloitte will be talking to us in the VUCA world, how you make a strategy for SMEs in the present day environment and how it's going to impact you. This is what is going to be happening on 23rd. Then on 29th, again important event, 29th, we are first launching the first V. Narayanan Ponds Memorial Endowment Lecture. Now this is happening earlier, it was supposed to happen hybrid in MMA. Now we are doing it online because of the present situation. We got again outstanding people who will be delivering the lecture. Mr. Shankar, chairman of Sanma Group. And we also have Mr. Arish Manwani, former Chief Operation Officer, Unilever, Senior Operating Officer, Blackstone. He'll be joining us from Singapore to speak to you. So we also lined up event till September, and the two events which I really want to tell you. One is MMA Award for Managerial Excellence. This time we made the award for Managerial Excellence to cover only COVID protocol, COVID control. And we are going to recognize the flyer will be out in the next 1 or 2 days. Please do recommend any of you who think who have done some outstanding contribution to COVID in terms of its controlling, be it doctors, be it bureaucrats, be it government officials, or be it NGO. We would like to recognize them as MMA Award for Managerial Excellence this time. We switched over from normal what we do, which we keep doing for manufacturing, MSME, education. This time we are doing it something differently. We do for. Then we're also launching on Monday the 10th edition of MMA Cabin Care MMA Syndication Innovation Award. This is an award which we will be doing it every year. And this time, happy to share with you, this time the award is going national. The entire country will be participating in the award. We are also recognizing the great innovators by 1 lakh cash prize award to every innovator who is going to qualify and the jury. So these are some of the things I thought I'll tell you. We are also lined up some outstanding speakers next month. Manish Tiwari, CEO of Amazon, and quite a bit number of them. And we are also celebrating on the 15th of July, International Youth Skills Day. We have, again, outstanding panel. Coming to today's event, we are indeed privileged and honored and delighted today to host this event this evening, along with the support of Content Shifting, Unleashing Creativity and Innovation in Next-Gen Leaders. And you all know, I don't want to talk much about innovation. The panel is going to speak to you quite a lot on that. And we have outstanding panelists this evening who will be formally welcomed by Thing, and we'll be introducing them a short while from now. In the meanwhile, let me also welcome Shivakumar, my colleague, my managing committee. Shivakumar is the managing partner of Prabha Associates, and it doesn't need introduction. He is one of the finest person who does a lot of innovative things, and everything he does is innovative things. And I deal with him quite often, almost on daily basis, and he always thinks differently out of box. And I thought when we have the event, I requested him, you are the person who should be delivering formal welcome and introduction that will set the context. And he himself is a great promoter of innovator, and he does quite a bit of work in terms of in his organization, not only in product innovation, he does human innovation. He's got some outstanding awards from national, NSDC and number of outstanding organizations recognized him for various things and various awards. Now I'll request Mr. Shivakumar to deliver the formal welcome introduction. Over to you, Mr. Shivakumar.
Yeah, good evening, President MMA, the delegates for the panel discussion today, members of MMA, and all guests and invitees, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to each one of you. It's indeed a great privilege for me to be delivering the welcome address on a very important day and an important topic with very young panelists, including a very, very young 15-year-old Apurva amongst us. The topic for today is unleashing creativity and leadership in next-gen leaders. For the panel discussion, you are certainly going to enjoy watching the discussion amongst such elite panelists. They bring in a lot of energy, thoughts, and wisdom. So let me now just introduce the panelist. Mr. G Ramachandran, he's the Chairman Advisory Board of Innoserv Group, ORAI Robotics, Director Keiretsu Forum, co-founder and mentor ZBAT. Sir, I'm also a Keiretsu member. I'm very, very happy to welcome you, sir. And Mr. Apurva Chamaria, SVP and Chief of Staff to CEO and MD, Tech Mahindra. Big welcome to you, sir. And Dr. Sandeep Pachpande, Chairman, ASM Group of Chairman, ASM Group of Institutes. Nice interacting with you. And I think you're the father of the young prodigy, whom I'm going to introduce next. Proud father. And Aditya Pachpande, CEO, Nextgen Innov8. He's just about 5,500 days old. So look at his smile, energy, and I'm sure a lot of great words are going to come out from him today. I also like to invite the president, the past presidents, the committee members, my committee members, the members of MMA, the student members, guests and invitees from various organizations, and those of you who are watching it live from different parts of Tamil Nadu, India, or from across the globe. The topic must have interested you, and therefore we expect a large number of people from across the globe watching it through YouTube or MMA webinar or Facebook. Now, for those of you who are our guests and invitees, I need to tell you a little bit about MMA. MMA is a large organization with more than 8,000 members doing very creative and innovative work. It's been awarded the best management organization by All India Management Association many times in the last 20 years. Now coming to our own discussion today, before I talk about today's discussion, even in the pandemic times, the way MMA has embraced digital transformation is something that each one of us from different organizations can learn. We've had sessions every day. We've had conferences. We had workshops. You name anything, we had it in the digital way. And look at our e-magazine, something as I would call it as a digital innovation for many others to follow and emulate. Thank you, Group Captain, for those nice words of introduction about me, but the great work that you're doing on innovation and creativity, and to bring about such great panelists for the evening discussion, I'm sure many members, invitees, and guests will appreciate you. Now, to set the context, all of us know that the next gen leader needs to have a lot of innovation and creativity brought in personally by himself, as well as a culture within the organization. Today, organizations can survive only with these two words. I've been part of Titan. I run large retail stores for Titan. So every month, every day, it's all about the innovation and creativity that's been brought into the organization. I'm also in the startup space. From Keiretsu, we have our monthly meeting to look at the startup companies. You would be astonished by the way their thoughts are, the way the young people are thinking, the way they're stunning or stumping the large companies in many ways than one. You have some of the unicorns who are startups in less than 5 years or 7 years, and perhaps Aditya would be another unicorn in some years to follow. Now, India, I must tell you, Aditya, that I know a bit about you, the time you wake up, the way you plan your day, from morning 5 o'clock to perhaps ending the day with thought about what you want to do the next day, taking innovation and creativity to schools and colleges where you feel if you kindle their mind, then Modi's dream of that 5 trillion economy can even be a 10 trillion economy. So with those golden words, I'm sure you've done lots of speeches, lots of lectures. Today's talk will be very interesting. You made your father proud. You made this evening all of us proud. You're going to make India proud. You're going to make the world proud. You brought the average age for today's meeting a bit lower because of your own age. We're very, very glad to have you here. And I'm sure the panelists are going to indulge to find out the inner truth of where the energy pours in from. So with these words, I'd like to ask the panelists to take over and discuss and make the evening the most memorable evening that we've had post-pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you, Shivakumar, for setting the context. Before I request the panelists to take over, it's my privilege because those people who have read that thing, Professor Shivakumar mentioned the name. Let me briefly introduce each of the panelists because you should know that how important person you are listening to this evening so that it makes sense for you to appreciate what exactly is buying. Let me have the privilege of introducing Mr. Ramachandran. Mr. Ramachandran, G Ramachandran. Already the detailed profile has already been shared with you. Only I want to tell you an important person. He is currently the Chairman Advisory Board of Innoserv Group. And he's also with a number of other organizations, AI-driven company, ZBAT and Sport Tech and a number of other companies. He's a qualified chartered accountant with over 40 years of experience and 20 years in investment banking. Mr. Ramchandran, it's a pleasure to have you with us and we're looking forward to hearing you this evening.
Thank you so much.
Next, let me introduce Apurva Chamaria. And again, Apurva Chamaria, and he is currently the Senior Vice President. One of the most known company in today is Tech Mahindra, and he also included being a part of the CEO of Vineet Nair's group and in Shell. And prior to that, he was moving the sales. He was a global leader of marketing strategy for enterprise applications, a number of other organizations, including Microsoft. And he has a pharma company experience, and he got exposure to a number of other organizations, which make him a really a person to discuss about this evening. Warm welcome to you, and a pleasure to have you with us, Mr. Apurva. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. Let me have the privilege of introducing again another important person for this evening, Dr. Sandeep Pachpande is the chairman of ASM Group of Institutions, very well known in Pune and other places, and he has done his he is alumni of Harvard Business School and also PhD from University of Pune and the topper from the Leeds Metropolitan University, and from this qualification is ideally suited to run one of the great educational institution group in that part of Pune. And he has also authored a number of books, a wide range of subject case studies in management, enterprise management. Number of them, you want to really know more about it, log into our website, you have the full details of his profile. And the last but not the least, the star of the day, as Mr. Shivakumar mentioned, Aditya is one of the reason why we hosted this event is we want to showcase to the world that the future of India is very safe and strong, and we have people like Aditya coming forward to be a child prodigy. That's why we brought in this, and Aditya is a young, innovative entrepreneur. He founded Nextgen Innovation, as you all know, at this young age. He is the most notable contributor being the creation of Suraksha Box, which you'll know from him, and youth creativity innovation and sustainable leadership innovation. Quite a bit of number he does it. And he's also technology, the 2020 election, how Silicon Valley technology impact. And he's also, what is not mentioned, he's also undergone a couple of courses in Harvard and Kellogg School, quite a number of educational institutions where he gone and attended some of the courses, which is very warm welcome to Aditya. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Now I'll hand over to Aditya, the young prodigy, to take it over and take it run through. Ladies and gentlemen, before we move forward, all the viewers watching this program live on Zoom, our chat box, please put your question in the chat box. That the entire panel will be deleted. Please address your question more related to the subject of the discussion this evening. All others who are watching the program from our various social media portals, our webcast, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and our live on radio. As usual, you are getting your numbers flashed on the screen. Send your questions to us by WhatsApp. Our team will collate them and really pass it on to the speaker to respond to all your questions. Thank you so much for joining us in large number this evening. We are looking forward to a fascinating evening this evening. Over to you, Aditya.
Thank you so much for the introduction. So good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank MMA and KAS for inviting me at this event. And it's not just about me, it is about all the kids in India that will make it more than a $5 trillion economy. And so let's start with a quick activity. Yeah. So when I say the word entrepreneur, or when I say the word entrepreneur, who are the people that come to your mind? Type it in the chat. When I say the word entrepreneur, who all are the people or what kind of people come in your mind? Type it in the chat. So let's see some answers. Elon Musk, yes. Go on, let's see some more answers. I hope everyone has access to the chat, right? Okay,
because the members, let it be interactive session if you can quickly say. Otherwise, Aditya will tell what name comes to the mind, what is the experience with all others. Okay, yeah, a couple of names started coming, yes.
Yes, so there are many famous names. And if you've realized one thing is that now, how many of you here thought of a young child or a young entrepreneur innovator when I said the word entrepreneur? How many of you thought young people? Okay. Now, when I say the word innovator, who all come to your mind? The word innovator. Okay, Ratan Tata. Yes, so many familiar names here. And again, how many of you here thought of a young child or a young entrepreneur when I said these words? So most of us think of adults as entrepreneurs and innovators, whereas the youth are very innovative and entrepreneurial as well. This is the mindset or the theme that we need to change. I believe age is just a number, but no barrier to success or no barrier to innovate. So let's do another quick activity. It'll set the tone for this session also. So grab a paper and pencil next to you, or you can draw on the computer. What I want you to do is, in this webinar, I want you to draw anyone's face, any random person's face. I want you to draw here. You have 30 seconds to do it. So any random person's face here in this webinar, I want you to draw it. And your time starts now. You can draw it anyhow you want. You can draw it in the computer. You can draw it on paper. On anyone's face here, you can draw. There is 10 more seconds. Okay, and time's up. So the point of this activity was, how many of you would be willing to show what you drew just now? How many of you would be willing to show it to your colleagues or to your friends or to your parents? How many of you, what you've drawn, would be willing to show it to others? So the point of this activity was to illustrate about creative confidence, which is the ability to take on problems that do not have a clear answer, like coming up with innovative ideas to solve others' problems. It can be to do something which you might not be good at. Even if you fail, you can bounce back. Many of us, for the fear of not being able to draw properly, or the roadblock of not having the right tools to draw properly, the key is to overcome these roadblocks. And if the answer to the question is yes, if you're willing to show your drawing or what something that you're not good at to others, it means you're creatively confident. So I started my innovation journey by reading Tom Kelly's book on creative confidence. So now I would like to invite GR and Apurva Chamaria to take the discussion forward.
Hi, Aditya.
Go ahead, Apurva. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, JR. I think this is our time to ask Aditya some really interesting and tough questions. And why don't you lead the way and I'll follow.
Well, Aditya, I've been watching you for a long time. And my first question to you is going to be that, Aditya, when you thought about innovation, when you thought about being different, when you thought about being unique, did it occur to you that this is something, it is inbuilt in you, or you had parental guidance?
So when I came across the concept of innovation and I researched a little bit more about it, I realized that it was in me. I had that internal drive to solve a particular problem. And all this started in my previous school. And when I started my innovation journey, I was actually teased as a lecture man. Why? Just because I used to go beyond the syllabus of the classroom. My teachers used to discourage me, saying that this is not important, it's not coming in the exam. But I persisted. And I persisted because I had that in me. And I knew that I could solve a problem, and that any child in the world has the capability to solve complex problems.
And Aditya, do you think you were a lone ranger then? When you say that you were moving ahead despite adversity?
I would say that I did get some support from my parents. My parents encouraged me to pursue my passion. And yes, there were some roadblocks on the way. Some people discouraged me, but I did get a lot of advice from others like you, and even parental support from my parents.
Okay, let me ask you a lighter question. Did the teachers get insecure?
I guess.
Okay. Then how did you handle that part? And did it affect their equation with you? Because you know what? Elders can have a complex then, that we are not well-read, because the Indian culture says that with age, you become wise. Not necessarily true. I'm an old guy, past 60. But I think that if you ask me, with age only you become wise, I tend to disagree. But did you see that they were having a complex or something, and as a result, you had a communication barrier?
Yes, I think, yes, there were many communication barriers when I first told my teacher that, okay, about innovation, about design thinking, I want to solve problems. The first thing she said is, what are you doing? This is not coming in the exam. So again, after I told that to my teachers, the equation completely changed. It's like one side is bigger and the other side is not equal.
And Aditya, added to this is a question. Were your marks good or bad? And were you always aiming at being number one? Or you thought, it's okay, I have my other things to go on. School is just part of the process of getting my academic credentials.
Honestly speaking, my marks they're not good. I didn't really aim to be first in class. That was never ever my objective. But I did think that I did give more importance to my passion and to other things, because I thought that exams are not everything. I used to give a little bit more importance to other things and not just to the exam.
So you felt that not getting marks and the teachers coming back to you saying that you're thinking beyond education, thinking too much outside what you should be doing, coming first in the class with your potential, you didn't feel intimidated as a kid?
I would say I didn't really feel intimidated because what happened was most teachers, when they told me that I have the potential in me and that I should focus here, I persisted. And so I didn't really give it that much importance to what they were saying at that time, or what they were saying.
Okay,
paying
here
attention.
I'm going to interrupt you, Aditya. One final question. Whatever you did is not what a normal kid does, which I told you when I met you long ago.
Mhm.
Because you had the toughness in you, you had the parental guidance in you, you had the environment and the ecosystem in you to actually go where your heart is seeking to do what you want to do. But the children in India particularly are bogged down by parents saying that come first, or they're bogged down by saying you have to score marks, and they are really worried. So do you think that you'll be able to give a guidance of how they should be going ahead if they were to take a leaf out of a book? What is your advice to the children, how they should proceed to become innovators, child innovators?
So my advice for other children to be child innovators would be that, firstly, it's a good thing if you're different than others. Don't be afraid to be different than others. And secondly, age is just a number. It's no barrier to success or no barrier to innovation. And what happens is, because most children are pressurized by parents saying that you should focus on your exams and everything. Yes, they should put some focus into their exams, but they should put focus on where their heart leads them. And
Okay.
if they really want to, if it's really their passion, then they should pursue that. I mean, not that exams should not be given importance, but the importance should be given more to their passion. And because exams are not everything.
Wonderful. Aditya, I'm going to hand over the baton to Apurva to take forward this interesting discussion. Over to you, Apurva.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you. So Aditya, is innovation overrated? Does everything need to be innovative? Or we also need a lot of people to just execute and not invent?
Well, I feel like innovation, I feel like execution is a part of innovation. So innovation, it might be overrated because many people think of innovation as different things. And I think of innovation as when you're improving a certain product to solve someone else's problem. It's innovation. When it's solving a particular problem, it's innovation. But if you have a solution towards a problem and it's not executed, then what's the point? There's no innovation in that. So I feel like innovation and execution, they go hand in hand. So it is a bit overrated.
Thank you. What is the first thing which you ever invented, innovated, and how old were you then?
So the very first thing.
Very first thing.
I would say it's probably, I made something out of Legos. And I'm pretty sure there was some kind of a voice box that my father had bought me. So what I did was I just put it in that, and then it would speak. It would answer questions. It came pre-installed. So what I did was I built something out of Legos and I just put it in that. As I think probably that was my very first innovation.
So one of the most common things which you hear a lot of people say is, hey, I have not been able to innovate as a company or as an individual because I don't have resources. I didn't go to a top college, university. I don't have money. I don't have resources. I don't have a team. Do you really need everything to be in place to be innovative? Or is scarcity the mother of innovation?
I would say scarcity is the mother of innovation. See, most innovations, if you see, they were actually made during a time of recession or a time of a crisis. And I mean, let's take the example of Iron Man. You know, I know it's not true, but in a cave, he was able to make a suit and escape. I mean, did he have all the necessary materials? No. Did he have everything he wanted? No, but he still he was still able to innovate and get out of that situation. So, when people say that they don't have enough resources or anything, the point is that you don't need as many resources as you think you need, because innovation is really like jugaad. It's doing more with less.
Thank you, Aditya. So last question to you. How was your experience at Harvard? Who are the innovative people you met there, and how did that change and help you?
Yes, so I'm pretty sure this happened when I was 11. I wanted to start my own company to pursue my passion. So I applied to the Summer Business Academy 1 at Harvard. And when I received an email back from them, I was heartbroken. They said that my application was brilliant, but due to my age criteria, they would not get me in. But then after that, I convinced them to have a Skype interview and I got in. And over there at Harvard, I met so many different people. They had such different passions than me. They also wanted to pursue different things. They also wanted to solve problems. And I feel like the most innovative people I met there were the professors. I mean, they taught you in such different manners than a traditional teacher would, because they used to teach you with case studies, with examples. They used to bring so much, they used to make their sessions much more interactive than a traditional teacher. So overall, my experience there was absolutely amazing. I learned a lot there. I made many friends there. And I realized many people want to innovate something. They want to solve problems. And these professors encouraged everyone to do so.
Yes, Apurva.
Thank you, Aditya. Yeah, over to the moderator, please.
Sandeep, you're taking on now?
So just before we move in ahead, and let's make Aditya the moderator of the next part. Aditya, something what I think, seeing the audience, what is relevant here, everyone is going through a pandemic and is facing a major issue. You've got a solution to that, and you're also creating a world record towards that. Why don't you just tell what is your innovation, what you've come up with, and what problem is it solving?
Yes, so during the pandemic, I realized that due to the pandemic, it has affected the lives of nearly all the people in the whole world, and has definitely disrupted the day-to-day lives of the entire population. Now, this creates various hardships for everyone, and I realized that one of the biggest hardships for everyone was how to sterilize the vegetables, groceries, parcels that we get from outside into our homes. And I've always been inspired by Mahatma Gandhi's quote, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." So different challenges we faced during the pandemic made me decide to do something about it. So since the pandemic of COVID-19 has disrupted and caused so many hardships for nearly all families today, our household warriors, what they're doing is to sterilize the things that they get from outside into their homes. They use various methods, like washing it with potassium permanganate, drying it under the sun, and how all these methods are not completely hygienic and they have their own drawbacks. So they are very tedious, time consuming, and there's a lot of wastage of water and other chemicals. So surface transmission is the biggest and major cause for the spread of the virus today, is the culprit. So I believe extreme times have always led human beings to be creative, innovative, and come up with unique solutions. That thought inspired me to innovate during the crisis. So I created the Suraksha box. It is a UVC light sterilization box, which is used to sterilize vegetables, groceries, and other everyday items without using any sort of chemicals, to protect us all from all kinds of viruses like bacteria, fungi, including all strains of COVID-19. Tomorrow, if a new virus also comes out, it will work on that. It works on the principles of UVC light. So this helps to reduce the spread of the virus and make the environment around us safer. So the box has a Government of India MC&I patent published and is approved, recommended and certified by CSIR, CMERI, ICMR approved lab, Government of India. And the box was launched on October 2nd, 2020 in accordance with Gandhiji's 151st birth anniversary. And the goal is to provide 15,100 Suraksha boxes to the underprivileged, needy and frontline workers. So that's my innovation that I've created during the crisis. And there's two versions of it. There's the do-it-yourself version also, which costs a lot lesser, and you can assemble it in around 30 minutes, which will help you to sterilize all your vegetables, groceries that you get from outside into your homes and make the environment around us safer. And also it's 100% made in India. So that's my innovation that I made during the crisis. Can I be the moderator now?
Aditya, before you get into that, let me ask your dad a question and then you come into it. Sandeep, if I were to look at Aditya and you, the question that engages my mind is, how has it been to bring up a child prodigy?
GR, first of all, I think what better proud moment for a father when he is known as, are you Aditya's father? So true. It's absolutely a very proud moment for any father to be known, and that too from such a young son as such. And of course, what a proud moment for me to be sharing the stage with him and, stalwarts like you, where he is leading the discussion as such. See, it's initially when we saw the spark that he's different. Of course, we were a little bit worried. The mother, when he started his company, yes, his mother had apprehensions that he should not lose his childhood. He should continue to enjoy his age and his things also. But what we realized is he was someone who could balance everything together. And we decided that, yes, we are going to encourage him in whatever he does. So what we did was provide him all the support. If he says he wanted to learn coding at Harvard, we took him to Harvard. If he wanted to go to Babson to learn entrepreneurship, we did that. And as you talked about marks, we were okay with him not scoring really high. But having said that, he's trying to be humble when he said he's not good. When he says he's not good, he means he did not score full marks. But he's been scoring pretty good marks in the subjects which matter to him, like business management, economics, design thinking. He's scoring exceptionally well. But we took that call that we should not pressurize him about studies and marks and let him follow his passion.
Sandeep, quick follow-on question. Have you ever scolded him, or is it that he has scolded you?
I would say a bit of both. The tough part, GR, is that he looks at me like a father as well as a mentor and a coach. So there are the two hats which I have to wear with sometimes conflict.
Okay. Great. Over to you, Aditya.
Okay, thank you. I mean, I have had a lot of scoldings, but then again, they were meaningful, right? I mean, they were for a reason. So those scoldings would be the reason. Those are the things that will take me forward, right? Those are the things
did you scold your dad?
Yeah, a few times.
Interesting. Good show. Okay, over to you, Aditya.
Okay, so I'll ask you the first question. So what according to you is the biggest mistake that entrepreneurs make? Most entrepreneurs.
They don't have a game plan, and they don't have a go-to-market strategy. They have an idea. An idea is born. Entrepreneurs are thinking that they have arrived. The problem is ideas can be great, but you need to be having a go-to-market strategy if you have to be viable. And I think, Aditya, that's a bane of some of the young entrepreneurs. When you look at some people who have been successful in creating unicorns, They've thought about the entire journey comprehensively. And I, for one, feel that if you have to be successful, however intelligent you are, however smart you are, if the consumer doesn't accept your product and you don't sell it to the consumer, you're not a success story.
So that's actually a very good answer. And I was also wondering if we can run the poll one question. I was going to run it a few minutes earlier, but let's run it now. Run
Sure.
the poll one question. Do you actively encourage your children to be creative or innovative? Yes or no? And then second question, has time come to put innovation and creativity above academic performance? So let's see the statistics. So around 94% people say that it is important and that they encourage their children to be creative and innovative. 6% say no. And then for has time come to put innovation, creativity above academic performance? So 86% people say it is, and 14% people say the time has not come. All right. Like there's still some people who are a bit who put a little more importance on academics, and I mean that's completely fine.
Change takes time.
Yes, of course, change takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. And then next question I'll like to ask to my father. As an educationist, how do you see innovation being incorporated in the classrooms, in the traditional education system? How do you see innovation being incorporated in those classrooms?
See, that's one of the challenges of the traditional education system. Since we are mainly towards marks-based and exam-based, we are actually checking more of the memory of the students as such traditionally. But that is where things have to change. And I believe that one of the things about COVID, I would say, is every crisis gives an opportunity. So the COVID crisis has made all the education institutes to adapt to technology, which was not there before. And with the use of technology now, we can give personalized solutions and learnings to the students, as well as if we can provide at ASM, what we do is we provide education in a hybrid and a blended mode. So it's a mix of physical as well as online, offline, synchronous, asynchronous teaching. And these are things by which we can bring in a good way, innovation, critical thinking among students. We have been using case study methods a lot for that. I mean, I've shared some amazing days at Harvard with Apurva, where we've done more than 100 cases together there. And those are one of the best ways for you to put yourself in the shoes of a protagonist and learn. I think more and more of that should be adopted, not only in colleges, but go down to schools. And that's where I think, companies like Nextgen Innov8 can come up with additional curriculum as well as additional courses which could be given to foster these skills of creativity, problem solving, innovation, which are going to be the key if they need to succeed in the future. And the jobs of the future are going to require these skills.
Yes, so really every child in the world has the capability to innovate and solve problems that are the problems that their communities or families face, and even global issues. So then I'd like to ask the next question to Apurva. You're one of the top angel investors in the country. What are the typical like the regular traits that you find in most founders who display high levels of innovation? The entrepreneurs and the founders who display such high levels of innovation, what traits do you observe in them, or what traits do they have?
So I think that's a fantastic question, Aditya. And I truly believe, and there is enough research to say that innovative companies outperform fast followers or other companies by almost 60-70% on S&P 500. So one of the most common traits which I find in successful entrepreneurs is extreme customer centricity. I think the innovation has to be based and rooted in deep understanding of need gap, what are the existing options. And there are two ways to be innovative. One is do something which nobody has done before. The second is do it in a way in which nobody has done it before. And the second one should never be underestimated. At times you can look at all options and do it differently. So be first in class or be best in class. To be innovative. The best founders systematically apply themselves, spend a lot of time with customers and consumers of whatever need they are trying to solve. And their problems and innovative solutions go hand in hand. They see every nail as an opportunity to be a hammer and hit it hard.
So maybe soon I'll have most of those qualities. I'll get most of those.
You already have it. You just have to allow me to win against you in table tennis next time.
Yes, sure. So now my next question would be back to GR. So how can we change the mindset of the fear of failure among so many entrepreneurs who are pressurized constantly, particularly in India? So, which is the reason why people don't usually think outside of the box. How can we change that mindset of fear of failure or increase creative confidence in most entrepreneurs in India?
Aditya, this is a very, very critical question. The fear of failure is a fear of the unknown. The problem is that entrepreneurs in India start off only with a thought process that I want to be an entrepreneur. My basic guidance to the entrepreneurs in India is that while an entrepreneur, have some people who guide you. And second, very important thing is they need to have coaches or mentors to help them ride over a crisis. And very, very importantly, you need to understand if you're going to set a startup, what is the minimum amount of money you need? You need to plan it carefully. And you need to say that I will have it and then I'll go ahead. What happens in India is we start with almost pocket money. We started as a hobby instead of starting it as a profession, starting it as something with which we will be actually totally attached to it, to the extent that morning, evening, night, we will be dedicated and devoted to the startup. But unfortunately, what happens is we tend to create a product and we are not very good in taking it to the market, and we get defocused and deviated because then we start trying to get awards and rewards. And unfortunately, we think these awards will take us elsewhere, but we have wasted our time. The unstinted efforts towards having the innovation done in a particular timeline and taking it to the market, even if you fail, taking the customer feedback, improving upon it and bringing a new product, and then getting the customer recognition in inverted commas, customer recognition. That is what the entrepreneur has to do. And he's a sure shot success story. He needs to be having, second, he cannot be a one-man army. Preferably, he should have co-founders with whom he can have different types of priorities established, so that there are not clones, but complementary skill sets that enable you to grow the startup. You see the world over, unicorns have not been created by one guy. There have been a team of founders, later they leave. But in India, sometimes one guy starts off, then he is busy tackling everything from being an office boy to a chef to a CEO to everything. And that doesn't work. That's my biggest advice to all the entrepreneurs that I meet, telling them, think through carefully, rollout plan should be clear, and above all, customer acceptance and customer recognition is a need of the hour.
The next question is to Sandeep. How can leveraging the power of creativity be used to solve problems, and how can that be better taught to students?
See, again, as you have put in, Aditya, when you say, yes, I also agree and believe that kids are more innovative than adults. Innovation is something that all of us have inside us. But as we grow, unfortunately, our system of the society, even to a large extent, the education system, actually blocks out your creativity and it makes you think inside the box rather than think outside the box as such. So if kids are given that freedom to think about the problems faced by their communities or by their parents, I am sure they can come up with radical, innovative thoughts which maybe the adults could not think about. And as the follow-up to the last question of GR, as we said that because the kids do not have that fear of failure as much as adults do. They do not mind coming up with a solution. They have nothing to lose as such. You talked about creative confidence at the start. I think if we give them that ecosystem where they can come up with their ideas, they can voice out their ideas, I think that's where we can really come out with solutions to these problems, use the creativity, innovation of students. And if we have mentors like Apurva, GR, believing in small kids like you, we can have many more Adityas like you or super young entrepreneurs who can come up with very good solutions to the world problems.
Yes, that is indeed very good. And then my next question is to Apurva. Are we seeing enough entrepreneurs today in India? And if not, what is holding them back?
So if you ask many others, they would say that, yes, the level of entrepreneurship has gone up. I personally feel we're seeing very, very early stages of more people being comfortable with failure and more entrepreneurs coming up. But as per me, it should be at least 100 times more. We still have an unemployment problem in India. India is still a land of opportunities. India still has a lot to offer the world in terms of solutions, whether it's innovative vaccines or even something like a QR code-based payment model, which actually started in India and went global. So I would really want more and more people to be entrepreneurs. It doesn't matter. You can be an entrepreneur when you start maybe with a comic book library when you were 7-8 years old and you start lending comic books in school, to actually writing code and creating websites and getting paid for it when you're 12-13. And I think as parents, all of us need to encourage our children to be entrepreneurs. We need to encourage our friends to be entrepreneurs. So I really feel we are at a very, very early stage and we need 100 times more entrepreneurs.
Apurva, let me just ask you that question again. Are we seeing enough young entrepreneurs in India today?
No, not at all. And for me, young is not 22, 21. I think it doesn't matter whether you're successful or not. It doesn't matter whether you built a unicorn or not. But can we actually start having entrepreneurs, innovators when they're as young as 7 or 8 years old, 10 years old? That's why I took the example of somebody, setting up a comic book library. And I think Vijay Shekhar Sharma in one of his interviews said, first time he became an entrepreneur is, and in US you see that, right? Children starting lemonade stalls and for 50 cents selling lemonade. So entrepreneurship does not mean that, when you're 8, you will set up a unicorn. But start small, fail fast, reinvent, learn. And you learn a lot. You learn basics of marketing. How do you attract a Nimbu Pani stall? You're running a Nimbu Pani stall. How do you attract buyers there? How do you write your first hoarding on a chart paper and stick it on a table? How do you differentiate? How do you create the product? How do you ask your parents for money? Parents are your best VCs and your first venture capitalists who will invest in you. So I think we need more.
And also, speaking of need for more entrepreneurs, there's also more need for social innovation, right? So I'll just take this opportunity to say, we are actually planning to have a world record attempt. So we have used crowdfunding to promote this, to promote the DIY Suraksha kits, and in an attempt to make it more appealing to reach out to more people, we are creating a world record on 8th of August to assemble the maximum number of DIY UVC sterilization kits in a single day. The kits can be for self-use or can be donated to a needy or an underprivileged or even a frontline worker. So I appeal to all the individuals and organizations to participate and support this noble cause so that we can reduce the spread of the virus. And my next question then, after having said that, on social innovation to GR, how can we encourage the youth to come up with more social innovations to contribute towards solving practical problems in the community or like for a good cause?
Aditya, first and foremost, we need to remove the mindset that getting into social causes is not a great career. We need to catch them young. While we talk about Gandhiji, half the time we don't follow the philosophies. And I think the younger generation is only being told about Mahatma Gandhi, what he was, rather than showing what has been done during his time also. The social causes cannot be taken to be only something which is done when and if you have time. And you can't be saying that the children have to be all the time career oriented. As Apurva rightly put it, are you entrepreneurial? Need not at the young age, doesn't mean that you have to be innovative at the young age at the same time. But if you're innovative and entrepreneurial at a young age, that means that you've got that DNA in you imbibed or inculcated at an appropriate time so that you create some interesting causes, devote your time to the causes and create a change for the country, for the ecology, for the nation. But are we having an ecosystem that is supporting that? I'm afraid it's not there. Young children, if they are collecting money for a cause, they are told, don't waste your time, when will you study? Some of the young children, if they're doing something worth the while, saying that, let me take a simple example. Some young children wanted to clean the Juhu beach in Mumbai. Youngsters, 8 and 10 years old, their parents started telling them, why are you wasting your time? It'll again get spoiled. I'm just giving you a very simple example. And these children came on Facebook and all and said, we want to do it, but elders keep on telling us it's going to be the same all over again. Now, if that is a way that social causes are going to be addressed, that elders need big time education in telling them, hey, don't dissuade youngsters. Allow the youngsters to do what they want to do. Allow the youngsters to devote themselves to a social cause. See, the problem in India is that we don't have too many people or parents or elders or teachers helping youngsters to focus themselves on social causes. And that's why, to my mind, social entrepreneurship is not taking off the way it should. And I, for one, I feel we need to have actually a revolution where social causes become a career change. Fortunately, today, sports is not that bad because people think cricket can be a career. That's just an example I'm giving you. Till the other day, if anyone was saying I was becoming a cricketer, they were saying, are you going mad? During my time. Today, they're saying, oh, cricket, oh, you'll make a lot of money. Look at the implication. The moment you're going to make money, that career is good. I think we need to change this mindset. While we don't make money in India the way Americans make, we don't understand capitalism the way the Western countries do, we still talk about money in a very narrow sense, and we are so narrow-casted that entrepreneurship, whether social or otherwise, is not taking roots in the children. And for that change to come, Aditya, while you lead the cause, I think elders like us have to give equal or more importance in encouraging children to break the shackles and go ahead with their thinking without the fear of failure, or even if they fail, why not? You be a successful failure. That is what I would encourage every one of the youngsters to be, a successful failure very early in life and create defining moments in their life, learn from that and go ahead and set up new ventures, no matter what the world says. I'm repeating it. No matter what the world says, go ahead, chase your dreams in entrepreneurship, be it social or otherwise.
Then my next question is to Apurva. You have been working at top positions in big corporates. How can corporates contribute to developing an ecosystem that fosters social innovation and entrepreneurship among the younger generation?
I think that's a great question, Aditya. I think a lot of corporates have days like bring your child to office day. And now a lot of corporates have open innovation contests. They organize hackathons. But I think we need more and more creative ideas. Like internships right now in most corporates are only for kids who are in graduation or post-grad. But what stops us from opening entrepreneurship and internships for kids as low as kids in class 5, class 6? And of course, it does not need to be as extensive, time-consuming, and as intense as some of the grown-up kids do. But we need real innovative models where more and more young kids get exposure to corporates. They get opportunities to work in corporates, learn how things work, understand what working life is, and understand the nature and the world of business. At least, children of businessmen still hear a lot of business conversation around lunch and dinner tables. But how do we expose a lot of children of people who are in services and professional life to the same opportunities by offering internships is one idea I had.
And then next, Sandeep, what are your views on the new national education policy? And do you think it will help to foster innovation and entrepreneurship skills in students so that corporates can hire more students with the right skill sets?
Yes, I think that's absolutely the need of the hour. What we need to do is ensure that we create a breed of employable youth who can face all the challenges of the corporates and of also compete in a global world. And while we talk of the role of education, I think is to create students or prepare the students for the skills and the jobs of the future. And if we have to do that, I think we need to rethink, reimagine, and reset our education system. For the first time, I can see a policy like an NPA, which is looking at the whole gamut of education, right from primary till postgraduate at one stretch together. It is multidisciplinary. It is giving multiple choice to the students. It's coming with multi-entry and multi-exit points, which can also give opportunities. It has internships built in, as Apurva said, that, kids, it's requiring kids to do internships, do volunteering projects. So I think it's a very good policy, which can definitely change the education landscape. Having said that, however, one of the issues what I face is for a big country like India, a one-size-fits policy may not work. And secondly, though the ideas are good, it is the implementation which is the key, and the execution, as GR had said earlier. It may be a good idea, but can it be executed properly? It will work as well as it is executed. There are issues with the mindset. There are issues with the trainings. There are issues of the digital divide in our country. So how it gets implemented is to be seen. But I think it is a good step. And with COVID, what more better driver for pushing educationists to change their mindset and reboot, reset, come up with new solutions and adapt technology to give higher and better quality education to the youngsters.
So speaking of youth, there's a question in the chat. Do you have any big idea for reaching to the youth of our country? So I'll just take that opportunity and explain the vision mission of my company. So our vision is that we want to give the power of innovation to every teacher and child in the world so that they can come up with various creative ideas and solutions to the problems faced by their families, communities, and even global issues to make the world a better place. And our mission is to set up innovation clubs in every possible school in the world to teach children various important skills like critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, and innovation skills to prepare them for the future, to secure the future. Children just need the right guidance, resources, and an ecosystem to support that. This is exactly what I envision Nextgen Innov8, my company, will provide. And then speaking of jobs, Apurva, do you think that do you think there will be jobs or new jobs or new careers of the future that will require different skills? And what skills would they require?
So yeah, that's a very good question, Aditya. So I was reading a research paper which said that 50% of jobs which will exist in 2030 don't exist today. And a lot of jobs which exist today, whether it's drivers or delivery people or chartered accountants or lawyers, would actually be done by bots and AI. Think about what an accountant does, right? Accountant basically does journal entries, balances the books. A lot of it is formulaic. So a lot of formulaic jobs will go away and will really challenge people to move to a high level of employment. And I don't think this is the future which we should be worried about. This is the future we should be excited about, because it will actually allow man-machine combinations. It will allow us to do more in less time. It will allow us to really pick up more challenging assignments and create impact in a short period of time. So I think those are the kind of future scenarios which excite me.
So again, in new kinds of scenarios, what we should do is, we should use Jeff Bezos' mindset. I mean, in Amazon, when I visited Amazon in Seattle, their headquarters, it said, fail fast, fail cheap, and fail quick. So that methodology needs to be adapted in almost everyone today. And so I would now like to ask GR, why did you choose to support a startup like Nextgen Innov8, founded by a student entrepreneur? Why did you choose to support Nextgen Innov8? What did you see in us?
Aditya, a very important part of any startup, and I've been a part of the startup journey for the last 20 years. Mm-hmm. Maybe I've been seeing startups like never before, maybe thousands and thousands of startups. Maybe in my experience so far, a youngster being a CEO of a startup, a youngster starting a startup at this young age like you, something which fascinated me. Second, bringing a different technology, simple yet useful. We always say simplicity is the ultimate in sophistication. And you were embodying that in your startup venture. I felt very fascinated about a very simple toolkit being used to save several lives in the country when the pandemic is creating hell. And it's more like a biological warfare that is being faced by us. And it is really impairing the lives of people from all walks of life. So when I saw some youngster like you looking at setting up these things and looking at similar innovative products and also having a social cause attached to it, not that profit is a bad word, my fascination went up multi-fold. And I thought that, yes, the only regret I may have is that we can't have just one Aditya. We need to have thousands of Adityas who will fill the country with such innovations, take it to the market, make it viable, tell the world that as youngsters, we can change the world. It should be a movement. According to me, innovation should be a movement that is created for the betterment of the country. And I think what better way to start, Aditya, than by children? Because if it is done at a very early age, I think then it'll set in a culture of different thinking, innovation, innovative thinking, and above all, setting the standards high for India's young generation or the which later becomes a millennial, to become the global leaders. So today's youngsters become the youth leaders and the global leaders of tomorrow. And that's the reason, Aditya, that I love Nextgen Innovation, which is led by you.
Thank you so much for the kind words. And then I'll ask a follow-up question then. This is also my last question. And I'm asking this to all panelists. What is your message to the youngsters and to the super young entrepreneurs of the world? What is your message to them?
Let me be very honest with you. I want youngsters to be entrepreneurial and innovative. Never mind if you fail. Go ahead with your dreams of entrepreneurship. Be fearless. Have the courage of conviction. Fortune favors the brave. Go ahead and actually achieve your dreams. Even if it means that you accomplished something, but you didn't do it monetarily, never mind. As I keep on repeating, nothing is too late. Be a successful failure. And above all, be fearless in your conviction that we are here to stay and we'll be entrepreneurs and make India and the world a better place to live in the future. We, the young generation. That's my message to all the youngsters like you and others.
Wow, that's very inspiring. And what about Apurva? So what is your message to all the super young entrepreneurs and the youngsters of the world?
Can you repeat the question, Aditya?
Yeah, sure. So what is your message to all the youngsters, all the super young entrepreneurs in the world? What's your message to them?
My message is enjoy entrepreneurship. It should not enjoy innovation. It should not be laborious. It should not be something which others are asking you to do. Enjoy the whole process. Success could come later. Success could never come at all. Both things happen. But it's very, very important for young entrepreneurs, young innovators to have fun while doing it. Remember the first time you folded a piece of paper and you made a plane. At your age, that was innovation. Try to capture that feeling. And the more you do it, the better you will become. And the more you will enjoy the process. If you enjoy it, you will go from average to good to great.
Yes, that's also very inspiring. And then lastly, I'll ask my father, what is your message, not only to me, but to all the youngsters and all the super young entrepreneurs of the world? What's your message to them?
See, first of all, I think, you guys should, first follow your passion, find out what is your purpose, and dare to think different. Go beyond, think beyond the box, and enjoy what you do. It doesn't matter. So don't be worried about failure. Be worried about the impact. Be worried about how you're making the world a better place, how you're improving someone's life. I think that is what everyone should do. And please do not worry about any criticism or about failure, and learn to have fun while doing it.
So all of us should be open to criticism. And I guess my last message would be, age is just a number, no barrier. It's no barrier to success. It's better to be different than others. I urge all of you to start thinking creatively, innovatively, and come up with solutions to problems. Everyone, especially children, are capable of coming up with solutions to any problem. So follow all precautions, use the Suraksha box, and working together is the only way we can get out of this crisis and out of this pandemic. Thank you all.
So thank you, Aditya. We have got over 900 viewers watching this program. I got a lot of questions from the YouTube and Facebook. I will try and share as many questions as possible in the next 10 minutes. Here's a question which you put it, my team has put it on the chat box also. It's a question from Kala. She's a principal of PSI school, one of the leading schools. It's a government-aided school, smart children studying the school. Our question to you is, great listening to you, Aditya, and you are to have a more clubs and schools, but the digital, the tech divide is huge and vast. How would you plan to reach out to the students in towns and villages and to the government schools, government school students actually? In that, we also have another question which you may like to combine and answer. He said, through your Nextgen innovation, then what initiative you have taken? Though you mentioned you would like to change the world in terms of youngsters, what initiative which visibly seen have been taken by you in terms of in your own schools, in your own classroom? Have you set up an incubation cell and where you could help other needy children to think? And is there anything come out of that such an incubation cell? This is just a question from another Ramakrishnan from Bangalore. So these two questions you can combine. Then I got other questions. I'll come one by one. Over to you, Aditya.
Okay, so in order to impact everyone, my initial idea was to set up innovation clubs in every possible school in the world. But that is our future plan, our future vision for the company. And as of now, we are focusing more on the pandemic, and we are focusing more on doing the social work. Yes, of course, we'll figure out a way to get everyone involved in the innovation clubs to actually help change the education system, because there's a lot of room for improvement there. And for the second question, again, we are doing this as our future plan, and I have many other ideas that I want to execute in the future. So the initiative that I see has worked very well is the world record attempt. We actually have a crowdfunding course and an Ikigai course taught by Manoj Anchan, who's the Ikigai Samurai. So we taught these courses to various schools. We taught the life skill of crowdfunding to various school students, and we realized that all of these school students, they could raise a lot of funds to do social work. And all the young people, they want to do something for the pandemic. So when you're trying to do something for good, everyone else supports you. And again, about the clubs, that's our future plan. So we are executing those differently as well.
Thank you, Aditya. Here is a question from Uday from Bangalore. There are a number of other questions. Here is a question. He says, your Suraksha box is a great idea, but I found similar products are available quite a number and there's also something available today in IIC Research Park. How is it something different from other Suraksha box? What you have planned? How do you think it's really innovative when compared to when many things are available? Is this something different from all others so that you can claim to be a most innovative product than others? And what's the feedback you got in respect of people who use your Suraksha box? And words.
Okay, so there are other products available similar to the Suraksha box. However, what makes our product different is that we are using aluminum foil inside the box along with a mesh. So what that does is it gives a 360-degree sterilization to all the objects. Whereas for some other sterilization devices on the market, you would have to flip your objects inside that and sterilize it twice, which takes up more time. We have a patent published on this, and it's approved, recommended, and certified by ICMR. So we do not use any kind of harmful chemicals for sterilization. And most importantly, we are at least 1/3 or even 1/4 the cost of any other sterilization product in the market. So our product has a space of around 30 liters, whereas the other products have around about 10 liters space inside. And we have used simple products. And one of our products is the DIY version. And for that, there is absolutely no competition, because for sterilization devices, there's no do-it-yourself version in that category. And the Suraksha box actually contributes to the 3rd UN goal, which is good health and well-being for all, and the 6th UN goal, which is clean water and sanitization, to avoid surface transmission and contamination in most everyday objects and things that we use. So that's a few points on how Suraksha box is different than the other products on the market. And also, I didn't see any other, I'm sure there might be some ventures doing social work for COVID, but I didn't see any sterilization product being used to or being donated to the needy or to the underprivileged. I didn't see anyone do that, any other venture do that. So I guess that is also how we are unique.
Thank you, Aditya. But I know there are some people who have done it. I've been getting
There's
messages.
a company in Chennai, in IIT Incubation Park. The name of the company is Fipsol. They've come out with this UV radiation product using the aluminum foil the 360-degree radiation. And it was sold very popularly in the month of June, July, very early from June, July onwards. We were looking at those kits for sterilizing the automobile parts, especially in service centers where the mechanics use some parts and transmission can happen. So these products are available, but what you're saying is right. The do-it-yourself kit is not available, and the price could be at least twice as much as what you're charging.
Thank you, Shivakumar.
So,
Great.
and say so, like the more the better, right? So
Yeah,
that's what makes us unique, and also there is need for many more other products also.
Yeah, you are a trendsetter, Aditya. That's what I wanted to convey to the people. Yes, you have to follow it, and it is nothing like I invented, you invented. It is the society what should benefit immensely from what you have done, and really.
the very popular UV radiation product that you see is in the salon.
We need that actually, and the product is going to, there to stay. It's not that we are going to finish. The pandemic is going to go over tomorrow. I think it will be there. People get used to all these things, so that they will continue to use this. So we have to use this hygienic thing. It's a way of life, and I know it will get embedded into everybody's gene. Now there are a lot of questions come. We have some outstanding panelists here, so I'm going to pick up questions random, so that any one of you can pick up the question. Here's a question come from Mr. Ramadurai from Jabalpur, and what he wants to know is, recently there has been this trend of large enterprises working with ecosystems of startups. I think the effort there is to absorb innovation from some of these startups. Could you please share from your experience of large companies that has successfully used this approach? Maybe Mr. Who would like to take it? It could be either Apurva, or I would recommend Mr. Ramachandran to take on this question, sir.
Well, to be very honest with you all, what happens, we need to understand is when startups are being encouraged by the corporates, I have one concern with the corporate world. I've been a corporate person myself. I've been a CEO, CFO, I've worn different hats, be it in conglomerates and multinationals. Even during my time, I would say I was guilty of not giving much time to the startups when they come up with innovative ideas, because we are caught in our own work. My worry is that the corporates give a small funding and then the startups are left to manage themselves. And that's the reason I see that some of the startups are not able to progress the way they should do it, or the startup enthusiasm gets killed in an early stage. Because if the corporates have to have the entrepreneurial cell, which itself is going to become a profit center by itself, that's how the corporates will really, really weave into the startup ecosystem. And it will be taken as a meaningful activity and a profit line for that head. I think startups will be encouraged to come to the corporates and embrace them more. And it will be a two-way street where corporates give them money and infrastructure, startups and entrepreneurs give them innovation and products which are unique.
Thank you, Mr. Ramachandran. Really a great insight. Here's a question from Mr. Raghuveer from Pondicherry. What do you want to know is social entrepreneurship has been growing all over the world. Do you believe the leaders of social enterprises need the same attributes and skills as entrepreneurs in conventional businesses? If not, how do you think the social entrepreneurs should think and act differently than other entrepreneurial leaders? And maybe Apurva would like to add, how do you bring in the culture of social entrepreneurship in young? Because today the world needs the support of social entrepreneurs today we have to be successful. So I'll request maybe Sandeep can take on this question, followed by Aditya. Over to you, Sandeep. You are being a social entrepreneur in the education system.
Sir, again, this is a very nice question. First of all, I would like to clarify here, when we talk of social entrepreneurship, it does not mean it's not for profit.
No, I'm not saying not for profit. He's only asking, how do you do that? You have to make money, otherwise you can't survive.
Absolutely. But sir, when we talk of non-profits, basically there is a notion that, making money or making profit is not good. However, you should make surplus so that you can work more towards achieving the objectives of your organization or things. If you look at the younger generation, I think they are more accustomed to buy products which are sustainably developed. Their buying decisions are based on those things. And if you want to create, say, let's take Aditya's example. Why did he come up with this product? He saw a problem faced by his mother and by the families around him and wanted to do something about that problem. Similarly, kids must be seeing lots of problems faced by their parents, by the communities around them. And this is what we should aim to solve as such. Impact investing is very big coming up in today. And what people should be worried is not only mainly about profit, but really how they are impacting the society, how they are contributing to the better development of the world as such. And this can be encouraged. And if you look at the UN goals, there are many of the investors who are saying that if you are doing these UN goals, we are here to support you as such. So number of initiatives are there. The mindset of investors is changing. I don't know if Apurva is in. Apurva can add up more about impact investing and putting the purpose, the doing business with a purpose.
Yes, Apurva is there.
Yeah, so I think impact investing is still very new in India. And
You have to unmute Mr. Apurva. Yeah,
yeah.
thank you.
So I was just saying impact investing is still very new in India. You have some fantastic impact investors like Avishkar, Omidyar Network. Omidyar Network was started by Pierre, who was the founder of eBay. And I think by and large for Indian entrepreneurs, entrepreneurship, or even for investors, when they think about impact investing, they think it's not for profit investing and you will not get a return. That's not true. The time required to get an exit might be slightly longer than regular investing, but impact investing is also about getting multiple returns on your capital. And there is some great work happening around companies which are into edtech, financial inclusion, vernacular languages, even crowdfunding. There are a bunch of companies which have attracted money from impact investors. So when you think about a social venture as an entrepreneur, or you think about impact investing as an investor, the same rules apply. The plans have to be detailed, the entrepreneurs have to be passionate, and you have to return capital and you have to return a healthy return on it. So for me, at least, nothing changes. It has to be done with the same due diligence and passion.
Thank you, Apurva. There's also a question which has come from Jay Shankar from Chennai. What do you want to address to Apurva? How to avoid reverting to the cumbersome and cautious legacy practices and risk-averse decision making that had hobbled innovation performance in many organizations. You are working in one of the organizations known for innovation. So what's your word of advice to some of the organizations to emulate some of the best practices followed by Mahindra groups?
So I won't comment on the group practices. I think there is enough out there. Everybody is aware of it, whether it's our chairman being very active on Twitter and responding to all sorts of ideas and comments, to the Mahindra way, which is a very well presented way. But I think some of the things people on the call can learn from many companies and corporates which try to sidestep bureaucracy and lack of innovation in very large firms is make innovation a part of everyday life and everybody's life. Innovation can't be centered around only the R&D and innovation team. It's too important to be centered around one team and one department and one function. You can only truly be innovative if everybody in the company is thinking innovation, from finance to HR to marketing to sales. Second, do earmark a budget which is specifically for funding innovation projects. Third, there are companies like Google which say 20% of your time you can invest in innovation and nobody will ask you a question. Fourth, be very okay with people failing in innovative projects till they had a good plan, they had sound assumptions, until they learned and they will not repeat it. So these are some of the practices you can keep in mind. Most important being innovation should be countrywide and not restricted to R&D and innovation department.
Thank you. Thank you. One last question for the evening before we sum up the whole this evening event. And this is a question from a professor from one of the educational institutions. Maybe Sandeep or any one of you can answer. I'm a professor, and the trend that I see with my students is that they don't want to commit onto anything. they don't even want to answer a question unless they are 100% sure that they know the answer to avoid committing mistakes and an embarrassment. How can I create an environment where mistakes are not something to be laughed about, rather to be celebrated and encouraged?
Aditya, you want to take that with your Alexa?
Yeah, since you have seen.
Yes. I guess so. So the right environment, the right ecosystem is very important if we actually want everyone to get rid of that fear of failure. And I'm guessing online this will be a much more difficult task, because it's difficult to interact with your students because you can't really see them or they have any problems. So what we've done is we have different ways of teaching. Like, for example, one class can literally be taken by Alexa. Yeah, you can create a course in Alexa, and or if you want to test them, you can create a quiz in Alexa, like a voice-based quiz. So that way, if students get more interested, and I would say the only way, if you want to reduce the fear of failure, and especially students in various schools and institutions, is to just interact with them and empathize with them. If you empathize with them, you understand their problems, you understand where they are coming from. That is the only way you can reduce, or that is one of the ways you can use to reduce the fear of failure in students. So then more students participate and really enjoy what they study, according to me.
So, Captain,
Aditya.
I think what should be done here is students should be encouraged to ask the right questions, not only answer questions to which the answers are known. And technology can provide a solution. Like, if we are trying it at ASM, and Aditya has also done some coding, which he presented at IIMs. And is that we found out that kids can ask Alexa any number of questions. They are fearful to ask a teacher, but they are not fearful to ask it to Alexa. So use of technology somewhere we can overcome this fear. And again, even if they're wrong, if we encourage them, they won't be having that fear at all.
Thank you so much, and yeah, great answer, Aditya. I wish we have some somebody like you who also invent Alexa, which can reach every common man today, so that they can ask question to Alexa. Because our country, how many can afford Alexa? Is somebody's asking a question which has come to my WhatsApp.
Actually, many people can afford Alexa. It's actually free. You can download it on the App Store and Google Play Store and everywhere. And you can even buy the physical speaker for Alexa.
Yes.
I would say
I'd like to add one small point here.
Yes,
because normally the teacher teaching, they don't allow people to interrupt when they're giving a lecture. I think that's been the traditional way. We need to allow the students to interrupt the teacher when they are teaching, because there are star professors, be it in US and India also, they don't allow people to interrupt them saying, we are stars in their own right. We should encourage children to interrupt you when you teach and then ask questions. And that is the way it will be a mutual give and take and a two-way street. And as a result, inhibitions will be removed and children will become more proactive in coming out with innovations too. That's the way we should be doing it.
Yes. So in a classroom, there are students of the same age, but different intellect.
Absolutely.
And everyone is taught at the same pace. Whereas someone might learn at a slower pace or someone might learn at a faster pace. So I think technology can enable to just to solve that problem.
True. Thank you, Aditya. It's a very fascinating evening. Shiv, would like to say something, or shall we close it for the evening? Shiv, anything else you would like to add?
It's been a fantastic evening with the panelists, and Aditya and your dad and the other panelists who are here. It's been a fantastic evening. You mentioned this, Mr. Ramachandran, that old people think that they're wise, but many say that they're otherwise. So,
Thank you.
Those words, let's leave it to the youngsters to take over. Yes. They are in to perform.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for a fascinating evening. I think having attended the program this evening, many of you will agree with me that the Indian future is very, very safe in younger hands, and I'm quite sure you have a bright future. All that you need is to the parents. I got a number of questions about parenting. What should you do? How should you do? I mean, since There's so many questions. I don't think that allotted time won't be sufficient. But many of the questions have been answered in the presentation discussion by Aditya and the distinguished panelists. And all do encourage your children to do what they want to. Don't force your views. If you're a chartered accountant, tell your son, no, you be a CA only. No, if that has been done, I don't think I would have joined Air Force. My father said, go and join Air Force. It doesn't matter where all my family members are chartered accountants. So this is where you have to really encourage your people to do what I think Sandeep is an example. And it's a fascinating evening, and over 900 people really gone benefited, and share with your friends. And Aditya, all the very best for your Suraksha box. I'm quite sure you come with flying colors in August to win the world, and we'll celebrate it along with you together. And thanks so much, all the distinguished panelists. Mr. Ramachandran, Apurva, Dr. Sandeep, and Shivakumar for joining us this evening. And your joining added tremendous value to the entire program. And as a token of our appreciation, this is what we do, Aditya. You have anything innovative, you can suggest it, we'll be more than happy. We would like to present about 400 masks to the needy people, and 100 mini sanitizers we go and give to them. We go around the different segment of people. In addition to that, what we also started is vaccination. Now it has come. We're also doing vaccination. We give them the need, what they really need during the lockdown, the provisions, and a couple of other things. I thought this is one small way the organization like MMA could do. It is not necessarily every time we only share knowledge. We also share empathy, which you mentioned. No, we need an empathy if you are to be successful any of your endeavor. Thanks so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks to each one of you. Stay safe, stay healthy. Please follow the lockdown rules. If you are one in your locality, stay safe, so that you can make others stay safe. If you're not taken a vaccination, to take the vaccination jab. And if you're taken one, take the second one, and look for you to seeing you more often in MMA. See you soon at MMA and hybrid event. I think once all vaccinations done, we'll be happy to receive you at MMA. Thanks so much to each one of you, sir. Say bye-bye to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Look forward to keeping in touch.
Yeah.
Same here. Same here. Thank you, Xavier.
Thank you.
I hope
Thank
you're
you.
there.
Thank
Xavier
you.
has been also a source of support to me. Xavier Prabhu is there, yes. Thank you, Xavier. Nice to have you with us and connecting us to Aditya. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Shiv. Thank you, Shiv. Bye. Thank you, Xavier. Nice to have you with us and connecting us to Aditya. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank